Well, hello everybody. I'm Rene with Tommy O'Donnell, and this is day 24 of the Ride for the Phoenix for North Lawndale College Prep. And today we had a little bit of everything. Why don't you bring everyone up to speed on our
It was pretty exciting,
most
yeah.
exciting day?
All right, yeah. So we started out in Wilmington, Vermont. No, was it Wilmington?
We were in Bennington.
Bennington.
See, that's why I take notes.
Oh,
See,
that's right.
Yes.
I remember.
You have it all up here, but
I remember these things.
Yes. Okay. Try to remember them the way they actually happen. Okay.
So Bennington, Vermont. Yeah.
Yes.
It was a lot of climbing today, probably close to 4,000 feet, and so that's a lot. And by the time we got to the top of, is it Hogsback Mountain? Hogback Mountain. It just started pouring and hailing and lightning and you name it.
Well, this was on the descent.
On the descent, yeah.
Right.
So we got to...
Not a good situation going downhill with the rain.
Jeez. Yeah. No, it was a little hairy.
But fortunately, Cindy, our fearless RV driver, was there at the rescue.
Yeah.
We couldn't get into the RV fast enough today.
She picked us up just in time.
So we've got 150 miles to go before we take our dip in the Atlantic Ocean.
Right.
So
Getting
2 more
closer.
days of riding.
Yeah.
So let's introduce today's guest.
All right. Jason Smith from Dallas, Texas area.
Welcome, Jason.
Thank you.
And the question of the day for Jason, we're just going to tee this up, and we're going to ask you some questions and let you kind of think it over, and then have you answer it at the end. So are you ready to go with this?
I am. Shoot.
All right. So today's question is from Jeneca Jones, who asks,
All right. How can you set high expectations for people under your care?
It's a good one.
Very good. So think that over for a little bit, but
Okay.
But before you answer that question, we just have some questions for you, as we do for all the guests that we've had on during this the last 3 weeks. So first one is just give us a little background on who you are and where you're from and where you grew up and what got you to where we are today doing this podcast. So all that in 3 minutes or less.
All right. The Reader's Digest version. I'm originally from Southern Louisiana. Grew up just south of New Orleans, and really had a great childhood experience. I think one of the most defining aspects of my childhood was playing baseball through childhood, through high school, and ultimately that's what led me to Fort Worth, Texas, to play baseball at Texas Christian University. And so that was an opportunity to spread my wings. I knew I didn't want to stay in Southern Louisiana. You're kind of pigeonholed with the few specific industries in that part of the country. And I was more interested in technology. And North Texas at that time had the communications corridor, the telecom corridor, where all the big telecom companies were being headquartered. So that attracted me to the North Texas area. Met my wife at TCU, and we've been married now a little over 15 years with 3 kiddos. From the entrepreneurship side, I was bit by that bug at a very young age. At 8 years old, I took on the effort to raise $109 to buy my own Nintendo Entertainment System. We were a very middle-class family. Never went without anything we needed, but there wasn't just an extra $110 lying around for toys. And so I struck out, and over the course of a year, cut grass, washed cars, and saved birthday money to buy that for myself. And without even realizing it at that time, that's what really started me on an entrepreneurial bend was, hey, if you're willing to work and be creative, the world is your oyster.
Sure. Yeah.
That ultimately led me to a couple of entrepreneurial ventures in the technology field. Built and sold 2 companies over the course of about 11 years. And then transitioned into the family office space, where now I help entrepreneurs who are having success in their own professional lives translate that into personal success and family and community impacts. And very rewarding. And I think my greatest wish is that I would have known some of the things I've learned today back when I was building those companies. And I think about what I would have done differently. And that's what drives me to be passionate about helping other entrepreneurs make those decisions differently as they're happening.
Hey, just backing up for a minute, what position did you play in baseball at TCU?
I was a pitcher. Yeah, relief pitcher, kind of the left-hander, middle inning guy, the setup guy.
Very cool. So when you watch a baseball game, could you pretty well tell what kind of a pitch is coming just by
I
watching?
do. Yeah, yeah. It's fun. The really good pitchers are able to hide that quite well. That's what made someone like a Greg Maddux so lethal at pitching. Was every pitch looked the same until the point at which it would break. So it's fun to watch pitchers like that. But then also it's fun to see the game unfold with a little more trained eye.
Yeah. Very
That's
good.
cool.
So what are you working on now, Justin?
Well, in the family office space, I'm helping entrepreneurs really create legacies out of their success. And so for some families, that looks like helping with a multi-generational transition of their business from founder to second generation. In some cases, that's helping folks do an exit, a cash out, and then redeploy those assets for new businesses or philanthropic endeavors. And all the while making sure that they're tax efficient, legally efficient, and that they're protected from some of the blind spots that success, the complexity that accompanies success.
Yeah. So Jason, tell us about your educational experience at TCU.
It really helped bring me out of my shell. I started out in computer science thinking that I was going to be the super technical, kind of subject matter expert type of person. And what I found was I much more enjoyed applying technology. I enjoyed learning about challenges and solving problems rather than developing new technologies. And so after my sophomore year, I switched over to the business information program. And that really required me then to interact with non-technical people. So I would say I was in the minority in the business school of someone coming from a more technical background. And most of my classmates were coming from more of a business administrative background. So that really required me to learn communication skills. We had to make class presentations. I was a very shy person naturally. And so you have to come out of your shell if you're going to be successful in other environments.
Right.
So TCU was a fantastic experience from that point of view. Even on top of the academic challenge, it was about developing me as a person and creating those soft skills that aren't necessarily taught in the computer science department.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
So Jason, what would you say is the most valuable lesson that you've learned through your educational experience, whether it's TCU or just growing up, in general?
I think it was an ability to self-teach. So when you want to learn something, not simply relying on a course or a program to teach it to you. There were instances where I would get particularly fascinated with a subset of a class, a particular topic in a class, and I would want to dive deep into that topic. And so I would seek out other resources to go beyond what the class required, and that really led me to become a lifelong learner. Things that pique my interest or things that I think would be useful as I'm helping other people.
Yeah.
I don't hesitate to Google a question or find a book or look for a YouTube video of someone that's wrestling with the same question or interest.
Sure.
So I think the desire to become a lifelong learner was spurred on during those college experiences.
Very cool.
All right. So also, I was wondering who has had the biggest influence on your life?
I would have to say it's my dad. I've never met anyone that can outwork him. Just that commitment to see a project through, to get a project done. As annoying as that was as a middle school kid or maybe as a high school kid, just to want to, hey, let's quit with this project for now. We'll pick it back up tomorrow. It's like,
Right.
let's finish it off. Let's just get it done.
Yeah.
So that was a big influence, and also his real desire for myself and my three siblings to get more education than he had the opportunity to get. So he's had a little bit of a tough road because he's sort of in that generation where college wasn't the default for his generation, but then he got trapped by the generation after him where everyone does have a college degree. So for him, ensuring that we got through at least a bachelor's degree, he felt was just a foundational education that he wanted us all to have.
Sure. Yeah.
I actually had the pleasure of meeting his dad at, what is it, the Lost Cajun. His dad has a restaurant is it Keller,
Yep.
right?
Keller, in Keller, Texas.
Keller,
Yep.
Texas, yeah. The
It's
Lost Cajun
It's
restaurant.
a
Yeah.
Cajun restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
really, really good place.
All right, on my next trip, I know where we're gonna go.
That's right.
Yeah.
When in Texas.
Yeah, we got it.
All right. So, are you ready for today's question of the day?
I am. Yes. A couple thoughts come to mind with that question.
All right.
So I read an interesting study where a group of people were split into leader A and leader B, and both groups were given teams of people and told to accomplish a particular task. Well, the group of leader A's were all told that they were working with extremely high performers, and the group B folks were told nothing about their group, just achieve this task.
Okay. Yep.
And so the results were the leaders from Group A that led those teams had between a 25 and 30% greater success at the given tasks, regardless of what the task was, than did Group B, who was told nothing about their group. So the results of that study were very interesting in that giving yourself not only the permission, but the responsibility to expect the most from your team is really step one in setting expectations. Don't allow your own bias or your own assumptions to limit what your team is capable of. To push them, expect great things of them, and at least by the results of this study, you will get greater execution from them.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think part of that is communication, is communicating with people not only what you expect, but what you think they're capable of in an encouraging manner. So if the baseline is to accomplish a task, how can I encourage you to improve upon how the task is done?
Right.
Or maybe the baseline is simply that, and we encourage then people to achieve more, be on a path to achieve more, so that if we only accomplish what is expected, at least we did that.
That's great. So as so Jeneca Jones, who asked that question, as a student at North Lawndale, how would she then apply that to her? I don't know what grade she's in, but how would she apply that to working with her fellow students at North Lawndale?
Yeah. First and foremost, just know that people are capable of extraordinary things if you allow them the room to achieve. And secondly, communicate to your teammates that we have the assignment before us. This is what we need to do in order to be successful at a baseline. But let's consider that a C. Let's consider doing only what is required, average, and then let's find ways in which we can improve upon the deliverables to truly be above average, truly be exceptional.
Gotcha. Yeah. Awesome.
So, what do you think leads to better job satisfaction? Working for a boss that has high expectations, or working for someone who sets the bar pretty low and doesn't really have any kind of clear expectations? This is sort of a loaded question.
Yeah, a little bit.
But from your own experience, though, Jason,
There's certainly. I think setting those high expectations does two things. It creates energy. It creates a sense of urgency, and it also allows people to self-select out of a team that's going to decide to be high achievers. And so I would say that this job satisfaction piece is a little bit of a twist there, because if I am just looking to be average, if I'm looking just to punch a clock and pull down a paycheck, you challenging me better than what I want to be, there's no job satisfaction there. But if you're looking to create high performing teams who enjoy challenges and appreciate the success for the success, and the paycheck is a great way to cover your own responsibilities in the midst of doing fun and engaging work, then absolutely you're looking for managers who want to push the envelope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very good. Very good. So do you have, we just turned the tables a little bit. Do you have a question for us?
Yeah.
We've been firing all these questions at you, Jason. So do you have a question for us? This is like Stump the Chumps. Here we go. Are you ready?
There we go.
This is exciting part.
Here we go.
Well, I'm curious with the ride that you're doing to raise awareness for the school. What specifically is it about this school that you want a broader audience to know is happening there?
Great question.
That is good.
So, the mission of the school is to develop tomorrow's leaders today. And when you think about the value of giving kids a leg up in life, that's something that resonated with us. And similar to the experience that you shared regarding your father, I mean, my parents were the same way. They never had an opportunity to even go on to high school. We were immigrants, came to this country when I was 5 years old, and it was all about books. We always had books in the house.
Yeah.
Always had books in the house, and I think that's the thing about North Lawndale as well is you mentioned being a lifelong learner. I don't think that the kids are looking just to graduate high school or just to graduate college. It's to really do something with their lives, and it's exciting to hear some of the success stories. The kids that graduate. So,
one of my high school baseball coaches has gone on to become president and CEO of a similar concept for a school in New Orleans, in the very impoverished 7th Ward of New Orleans, where all the students go tuition free. It's all community based and supported for that very same reason. You don't end poverty with money. You end it with education. You end it with a change in culture and a change in expectations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, we're on the same page with that.
Cool.
You have a thought on that question that he asked?
Well, I thought it was interesting. Like when we interviewed Sue Ellen a couple days ago. She works for North Lawndale, and she is in the marketing and fundraising. But anyway, she was just telling us about how it costs on average about anywhere from $2,500 to $4,000 more per student to get them up to the same level of education as an average student in the U.S. Just because they're dealing with so many more issues, emotional or things at home or whatever it might be. There's such a distraction in their lives that they don't have the luxury of being able to really, advance through their lives and get, they're not surrounded by a lot of the right people and so on. So just, I thought that was interesting that she said it, just to get them on par with an average student, it costs about that much more. And, it makes sense to me, why there's a lot of people out there who do raise money and do charities like this for schools,
Yeah. One of the interesting statistics I read about the poverty issue in southern Louisiana is that if you don't get these kids on the right track, on average, the state will spend $2 million in various incarcerations and prosecutions of someone. And that's over 60% of these students who don't graduate from at least high school. On average, are spending $2 million over their lifetime in tax dollars. So it's like, why don't we spend the $4,000 to $6,000 to $10,000 per year to create more productive people than to turn around and spend $2 million over their 25-year incarceration?
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting is, the kids there, no one feels entitled. They know they have to work for it, and it's not an easy curriculum.
No.
So this
Right.
isn't skating through school. This is doing the hard work.
No.
And I think that willingness to do the hard work really prepares you for life because it doesn't get any easier. I remember when I was going to high school, I thought, well, I can hardly wait to get to college. We're going to be a lot easier. And then after that, it doesn't work that way. So I think you do have to be a lifelong learner. If you're standing still, you're going backwards.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
Right.
Well, this has been really enjoyable, and appreciate you taking
Yeah,
time
same here.
from your busy schedule. And next time I'm in Dallas, we're gonna have to make a road trip.
I think so.
We'll have
Yes.
to make a road trip
Yes.
to your dad's place. That sounds like it would.
Let me know. We'll head over there and make sure you get the Cajun treatment.
There you go.
Okay, very good. Thanks
All right.
again.
All right.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Good night.
See ya.
Bye.